The history of the United States of America is something we all think we know very well. But are we as well informed as we like to think? The history of our country is a complex and ever-changing story that is riddled with discrepancies and spans over hundreds of years. In this speech, I hope to inform the audience about the history of our great nation. The story began over 500 years ago, when a sailor named Christopher Columbus discovered the New World. Columbus was under contract with the Spanish crown, and is accredited with the discovery of America in 1492. However, he was not the first man to discover the mainland of North America. Ponce de Leon, another Spaniard, landed in Florida in 1513. After the discovery of the New World, Spain and other European countries, notably France, England, and the Netherlands, began sending settlers to the region. The colony legalized slave trade and expanded rapidly, which caused conflict with the Native Americans. During the French and Indian War, the British gained control of most of the colonized territory in America. In the 1760s, tension between the American colonies and the British Crown grew. King George III and the English Parliament heavily taxed the colonists in order to pay for the French and Indian War. In 1765, the colonists revolted. Independence was declared on July 4, 1776, and America won the Revolutionary War in 1783. The new nation of America grew rapidly in population and area as pioneers moved into the western frontier. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson purchased Louisiana from France, almost doubling the nation's size. In 1819, all Spanish territory in America was ceded, and the Oregon Treaty of 1846 granted the United States modern-day Washington and Oregon. By 1848, the United States had acquired all of the continental territory that it has today. The California Gold Rush of 1848 spurred even more westward migration, and this influx of settlers began to decimate the Native American culture and population. At the same time, a new movement known as abolitionism began gaining popularity. This movement polarized many of America's citizens and caused a lot of tension between the northern and southern states. In 1860, South Carolina seceded from the Union, quickly followed by 10 other states. The American Civil War began the following year and ended with a northern victory. The country remained whole, and slavery was legalized in the United States. In the early 1900s, political disagreement in Europe eventually exploded into World War I. As the war waged in Europe, Germany attacked U.S. ships en route to Britain and caused America to declare war. America and its allies defeated Germany in 1918. 20 years later, America entered World War II against Nazi Germany and the Empire of Japan. This war also resulted in an American victory that secured the safety of the nation. In the 1920s, the U.S. grew steadily as an economic and military world power. In 1929, however, this success came crashing down with the beginning of the Great Depression. The country experienced significant deflation, and unemployment jumped from 3 to 25%. This was the worst economic crisis in U.S. history. Following the Second World War, two dominant world superpowers emerged, the Soviet Union and the United States. Political and economic tension grew between these two nations, resulting in the Cold War, or a period of near conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States. The Cold War ended in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. In the 1990s, the United States emerged as the world's sole remaining superpower and continued to intervene in international affairs. President Bill Clinton oversaw one of the longest periods of economic expansion and unprecedented gains in securities values, which were a side effect of the digital revolution and new business opportunities. He also worked with the Republican Congress to pass the first balanced federal budget in 30 years. I hope that after listening to this summary of the history of the United States, you feel more educated about the story of our country. Or maybe you just feel extremely bored, which is understandable. But at any rate, the history of our country is an important account that everyone should have at least some knowledge of.